Algunos sueños parecen muy grandes e inalcanzables, pero son los que te impulsan a creer, a crear y a transformar. Tu imaginación y la exploración de nuevos horizontes te permitirán escribir una nueva historia y cambiar la realidad. Alcanzar tus sueños te motiva, pero aportar a una mejor sociedad te hace grande. Tu talento es el inicio de un gran futuro. Cree en ti y todo será posible. UPB.
Muy buenos días para todos, sean bienvenidos al inicio, a la apertura de la cuarta versión de la Semana Internacional de la Universidad Pontificia Bolivariana Seccional Bucaramanga. Mi nombre es Rafael Calles, jefe de la Oficina de Relaciones Internacionales e Interinstitucionales, y es para mí un verdadero gusto darles la bienvenida a que nos acompañen durante esta semana que estará repleta de actividades con muchas conferencias y temas de tendencia y por supuesto todos los aspectos culturales, diplomáticos, de gamificación, de emprendimiento y academia que siempre han estado presentes en nuestro ejercicio institucional. Este ejercicio que nació en la sede de Bucaramanga y que se ha trasladado a todo el ecosistema multicampus de la Universidad Pontificia Bolivariana y el cual hemos institucionalizado como una de nuestras grandes apuestas para la internacionalización en casa. De manera que, para no dar más preámbulo, quisiera invitar y darle el saludo a nuestro señor rector, el presbítero Gustavo Méndez Paredes, para que realice la instalación oficial de esta cuarta versión de la Semana Internacional y tengamos su beneplácito para el inicio de estas actividades. Señor rector, bienvenido y gracias por acompañarnos.
Muy buenos días para todos, muy buenos días, Rafa. Qué alegría poder darle apertura a esta experiencia que ha demarcado nuestro proceso institucional anual en la seccional Bucaramanga. Y como bien lo he expresado, una experiencia que ha explayado a las demás sedes de nuestra UPB en Colombia, en Medellín, Montería, Palmira. Una apertura que quiero hacer siempre con la misma invitación a todos los que harán arte y parte de esta experiencia de Semana Internacional. Una experiencia que nos permite tener dentro del proceso de enseñanza-aprendizaje una dinámica de pensamiento global. Es poder seguir generando una conectividad de nuestra realidad de proceso de educación en calidad y en excelencia, muy unido y en diálogo de cercanía con el mundo que nos rodea. Claro, estamos felices también porque esta Semana Internacional goza ya de una plenitud de madurez bajo la interactividad de los medios de comunicación, de estas grandes plataformas que hoy día permiten disfrutar de distintos eventos, de distintas presencias en estructuras de conocimiento que enriquecen nuestra vida desde aquí al mundo y del mundo hacia aquí, hacia nuestra realidad, nuestra seccional Bucaramanga. Cómo me alegra tener en esta semana no solamente la apertura de una serie de actividades de carácter académico, sino también de carácter cultural. Una experiencia que nos acerca realmente a la realidad de otras circunstancias, de otras experiencias que van a enriquecer nuestro proceso de educación, nuestra presencia institucional, nuestro sello UPB. Le agradezco a Rafael, a la Oficina de Relaciones Internacionales e Interinstitucionales, que ha generado toda una serie de actividades para enriquecer esta semana, toda nuestra dinámica académica, toda nuestra semana con actividades que realmente representan cultura, visión de mundo. Les deseo todo el bien y espero firmemente que todas las actividades programadas sean realmente de grata satisfacción para toda la comunidad universitaria. Un abrazo también de gratitud a todas las personas, instituciones que harán parte de esta Semana Internacional programada desde nuestra seccional Bucaramanga. Muchas gracias y les deseo todo el bien y los buenos frutos de esta actividad programada. Dios los siga bendiciendo.
Muchas gracias, señor rector, por sus palabras de bienvenida. Para nosotros siempre un honor que la seccional pueda generar este tipo de espacios y contar con el apoyo absoluto de toda la estructura universitaria en esto que estamos realizando para la visión y para la construcción de ciudadanos con perspectiva global. Gracias por habernos acompañado.
Muchas gracias.
De esta manera continuamos para dar inicio formalmente a nuestro primer espacio y para ello quiero dar la bienvenida y presentar a nuestro primer speaker de esta Semana Internacional 2022 de la seccional Bucaramanga. Y quiero presentar a ustedes para tocar un tema muy pertinente, un tema de futuro, de construcción de mundo, como lo es el metaverso y donde todos estamos involucrados y teniendo perspectivas distintas. De manera que quiero invitar a Yonatan Raz-Fridman. Jonathan es el CEO y fundador de Super Social. Super Social es una compañía líder en el metaverso, en la producción, generación, distribución y publicación de videojuegos para grandes plataformas como Roblox y como Web3. De manera que vamos a tener una charla bastante particular para que todos ustedes puedan enterarse un poco de cuál es esta emergencia del metaverso y de qué manera podemos nosotros también involucrarnos. La vamos a realizar en inglés, sin embargo, todos los comentarios y preguntas que tengan a bien las pueden colocar en el chat de YouTube y las estaremos trasladando a Jonathan para que pueda responderlas. Jonathan, welcome to our International Week, and it's a truly honor for us to have you.
Great to be here, Rafael. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, it's a truly honor and also a very good opportunity to know more about the Metaverse from a very good person and also a very good experience profile as you are. So thank you so much once again to be with us. Jonathan, to start, we want to more know about you. What is your professional background and also your experience as founder of technological companies?
Yeah, well, I'm originally from I'm originally from Israel, where I was born and raised, and I think I got into entrepreneurship about 10 years ago. Really fell in love with the idea of starting technology companies that can really make an impact on people's lives. You know, it started with a computer company called Kano Computing that I co-founded in London almost 10 years ago, with really the idea that anyone can build and code their own computer and become a creator. And I think over the years, fast forward, we really learned how technology can be an empowerment tool for a whole new generation, you know, young people everywhere they are. And so I feel like in a way, 10 years after starting a computer company that helps young people to learn how to code and build their own computer, I'm now building sort of virtual experiences and virtual worlds on platforms like Roblox, where really there is a whole new generation of people who learn how to create games and experiences for the metaverse. And so that's exciting for me. And I'm really passionate about how do we continue to use technology to really kind of elevate human experience on the internet, but also in real life and kind of connecting the two together.
Yeah, it sounds pretty good, but also it's an incredibly challenging activity and also initiative, having in mind the incredible moment that we are facing in terms of technological aspects and devices, and also the big part and the big portion of people that are doing now things in the technological side. In that way, Jonathan, I would like to deepen for a moment on Kano, because in that company you were able to distribute around 60,000 units in more than 80 countries around the world. So how does it feel to know that the products and services that you create can reach the entire world?
Well, first, I think by now we probably shipped hundreds of thousands of these computer kits around the world. And, you know, I think the world is, over the years, I think we've been receiving an opportunity to really build companies and products everywhere. And so more than ever before, even after COVID, we have the opportunity to build products and bring it to everyone around the world. And I think what's really unique in the point of time we're at is that there isn't really any difference between a 15-year-old in Colombia and a 15-year-old in Israel or a 15-year-old in the United States. All of these young people really want to create a better future. They want to have a job in the future that provides them with a sense of self-fulfillment. And I think that's sort of the original mission of Kano as a company, was really about how do we empower and really give the power of creation to young people. And I think with what we do today at Super Social, I'm kind of continuing that line of creativity and really not only giving the right tools to young people to create the product that they want to see, but also inspire them and empower them to be the best versions of themselves, either if it's personally and professionally. And I think there's never been a better time to start companies, no matter where you are.
Yeah, you said that a very important point, Jonathan, is that also the technology is offering us a very good level of equality in terms in which barriers between the world are facing very difficult to surpass. The technology has the opportunity to be the same level of opportunities for them. So companies like Kano and also many others trying to surpass that barriers and offering the same level of opportunities for all the kids and the young people around the world. That's a very good point to outstand. So passing to the central point of this conversation, Jonathan, I think that for many of them, the metaverse was an incredible concept, but also like an opportunity of surprise for them, because it was not really common for us 2 or 3 years ago. So when did you first hear about the metaverse, and did you think at the moment that it could become as a big trend as it is today?
Yeah, so I heard about the metaverse. Well, I read about the metaverse for the first time when I read Snow Crash. I think it was 2016, 2017. And so that's kind of the first time that the term kind of came about. At that point of time, I really started to read more books from Neil Stephenson, the author who coined the term the metaverse, and also wrote Snow Crash, who I had the pleasure of speaking and interviewing in my podcast Into the Metaverse. And I didn't really connect back then. First of all, I was busy still building Kano, the computer company, and I wasn't really thinking about what's next. But also, I wasn't sure yet what does it mean for sort of the future of the internet. I was fully aware already, of course, about platforms like Minecraft and Roblox, but the idea that there's going to be this kind of virtual realm that is interoperable, where we can jump between one place to another and do that with millions of other people, and we can have our own sense of identity that we can own and carry with us in all of those different virtual worlds. I mean, that's a pretty crazy concept when you think about a world where we're still accessing virtual experiences in 2D in a mobile phone. And so that was really when I first heard about it. And then fast forward to 2020, I was working on a venture in VR content, and I was already kind of fascinated by the possibilities of virtual reality as a headset, but I didn't really think about the metaverse yet. And then COVID arrived, and in March 2020, this is when everything kind of clicked together in my mind. I started to read more about the metaverse from people like Matthew Ball, who is a proponent of what the metaverse could be, and looking at other leaders like Tim Sweeney and Dave Baszucki, the CEO of Roblox, and also looking at the things I've already done for the past 10 years. And then COVID arrived, and really, I realized that suddenly there is more than 1.5 billion young people under the age of 18 that are now locked in their homes. And it felt like this is going to be the big accelerant of a human behavior shift, where we can now potentially start looking at virtual worlds and quote unquote video games as the evolution of social media in a form of 3D, where we can be immersed in the worlds, where we can be more expressive of our personality through the lens of a 3D avatar, when we can socialize at a hyper level, right? Not just a few people, but thousands of people, and in the future, millions of people who can interact together in these virtual worlds. And so that's when everything connected, and I felt that this is it. Like the next 10 years, at least in the world of internet and consumer experiences and enterprise, this is where we're going. It's all going to feel like a game, but now it's not just going to be kids and gamers. It's going to be the rest of the world. It's going to be people like us who are suddenly immersed in these 3D worlds and 3D experiences. And what I didn't know is how quickly the trend is going to explode. I think the change of name of Facebook to Meta obviously changed a lot in the visibility and the public visibility of what is now referred to as the metaverse. But I also think we are at the very, very, very early stage of what a lot of people envision for the metaverse, which is this massive, interoperable, large-scale virtual realm that is parallel to our in real life existence. This is really going to take time, but we are already seeing proto platforms, examples of what the metaverse could be. If you think about Roblox, if you think about Fortnite, there are already certain behaviors that mimic what the metaverse could be when it is fully realized, in the next 10, 15, 20 years.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Jonathan. And it's very important to highlight that point of the transition between the first generation, for example, and to say something, the first generation of metaverse users that was dedicated to video games and all this kind of technological side. But also we are facing now worldwide brands, including in the sector of the clothes, doing very things in the metaverse, trying to move their physical spaces to the technology side, and also trying to gain more traction in terms of this new generation of people that is totally focused on the metaverse. So I think that it's a key point that you said before, and it's totally directed to the horizon and to the paragraph that we are trying to face in terms of the metaverse. Just in that direction, Jonathan, many spokespersons related to the technological side said that the metaverse market size will be around 427 billion for 2027. That is a huge. And how do you see the metaverse the next 5 years? Do you think that we have not seen yet the full potential of the technology?
I think the metaverse may be more, in my opinion, a bit more potentially accurate way of defining it is less as a technology and more as a sort of as a gateway to something different, right? The internet is based on a lot of different technologies and protocols. And I think the metaverse, in my mind, will be something of a very similar nature. It would be almost like the manifestation of the technologies. And the technologies are really different protocols. Game engines are going to play an incredible role, a very instrumental role in the emergence of the metaverse. Of course, headsets, if it's mobile phone, VR headsets, autonomous vehicle, anything where we can access a metaverse experience is going to be important. I think the metaverse is also about a gateway to behaviors. So there's a lot of different facets of what I think the metaverse is ultimately going to become, some of which is just outlined. And in that respect, if you subscribe to a worldview that I hold, that the metaverse is really the gateway to a new, different type of internet that is 3D, immersive, hyper social, and more expressive, the opportunities of the size of that economy generated through the metaverse is going to be, in my mind, 100 times bigger than what is currently outlined by proponents of the metaverse. And here is an example why I think differently. Today, there are how many people around the world? About 8 billion people. In the next 20, 25 years, it's going to be 10 billion people. That's a lot. But in real life, our existence is, at least still now, limited by our ability to have one body, one person. In the metaverse, I can have multiple identities because I can duplicate and replicate myself in the form of a 3D avatar, and I can have one identity that gives public talks, like with universities like yourselves. I can have one identity that is about having fun, going to parties, and enjoying music concerts. And I can have one identity which is, here is how I would like to be with my friends. And so in a way, there could be more than 100 billion people in the metaverse. And if each and one of these people as an identity is going to invest in itself, is going to acquire avatar items, avatar outfits, learning, working, doing things to enjoy in these virtual realms, what if we talk about a world that is virtually 100 times bigger or 10 times bigger than what we have in real life? And what does that mean for the size of the economy that can be built on the back of the metaverse? That's where I think we are underestimating, just like we've underestimated the size of the internet economy and how it will impact everything in life. I do think the metaverse will have a similar effect, although I do think it will take a very long time, 10, 20, 30 years, even more. Of course, it's going to grow potentially exponentially, but it will take time until the metaverse really first onboard majority of the global population into this kind of next iteration of the internet, and then the wider impact on businesses and enterprises and brands and so on and so forth across multiple sectors, work and education and entertainment, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, it's fascinating, John, because probably it's the only and the prior moment in which we can imagine that we can increase our identity n times into the metaverse. So it's unbelievable the level and also the projected experiences that probably we're putting into the metaverse, having in mind that it's totally possible to double or to make more identities of each person in our world, and to present like a new society of people and persons in the metaverse. So it's fascinating, and probably never before we can imagine something like that. To close this paragraph about the metaverse, Jonathan, bear in mind that we are talking about this like movement of metaverse as an emerging need, as the conference and the interview is named. What do you think will be the greatest benefits and opportunities that the metaverse can bring to our society?
That's a great question. You know, I think first and foremost, I think we have a growing need to diversify the workforce, right? We have there's a lot of people who are concerned about automation and what does that mean for the workforce of the future. Do I believe that machine learning, artificial intelligence, robotics are going to displace and potentially make obsolete a lot of different roles? I do. But I think that, like any industrial revolution in the past 1,000 years, it also provides an opportunity. And I think we are at a point of time where I think the metaverse as a sector, let's say, can really develop a lot of different roles and jobs and workforce that may not exist today. Again, if you think about it, we're going to have potentially a really, really massive scale virtual economy. I believe there are going to be opportunities to diversify and create roles and jobs that do not exist today. So I think workforce development is one thing. I think the other thing that the metaverse can provide people is opportunities for expression and self-fulfillment. Look at what has happened over the past 20, 25 years with the internet. It started with writing your own blogs and communicating and writing things for free. Right? The printing press democratized and essentially made the ability to some extent to share content and books and newspapers in a way that was only available 500 years ago to the church. That really propelled society and humanity forward. Then we had the internet, and I could bundle in that the beginning, the blogs, and then obviously the evolution of YouTube and Instagram and TikTok as forms of essentially human expression, right? And that created an opportunity for people to not only creatively express themselves, but also monetize their expressions and make a living. And then I think in the metaverse, we're going to have completely new opportunities. I believe we're going to see virtual native musicians. I think we're going to see virtual native fashion brands, virtual native beauty brands. I think we will see virtual native, metaverse native platforms where you can work or learn. And so I do believe that the whole notion of how do we as people express ourselves has always been important, from the cavemen who created art inside caves. This is a new technology for human expression, and there's going to be profound implication for that, a lot of which I don't even know yet. So that's kind of the second thing. The first thing I talked about was workforce development. The second thing is kind of human expression. And I think the third is really creating communities in ways that today are not possible. If you think about my generation, right? I'm kind of somewhere in the middle of being a millennial. And so if I look at my generation, you know, I grew up without computers, without the internet. When I was 16, the internet arrived. And then personal computers, mobile phones, really completely liberal, gave us the freedom to access information in the palm of our hand and connect with anyone around the world. I think now with the emergence of the metaverse, we are going to evolve into an internet that is 3D. And again, that is more immersive, more hyper-social, more expressive. And I think the type of relationships that we can create as communities, as people, are going to have profound implications, all the way to potentially what is the role of the nation state in a world that people can connect and spend time with anyone, anytime, in any form? What does that mean for the role of the nation state? What does it mean for how communities emerge? What will these communities do? Now, if you connect that to other elements like cryptocurrencies, maybe there are going to be opportunities for these communities to actually become self-sovereign communities. Think about that for a second. The last time we had self-sovereign communities were back in the city states, or even the hunters and gatherer communities, of 1,000 years ago. And so I think there could be profound implication for how technology in general and the metaverse specifically could really alter the way people express themselves, people connect around the communities of shared passion, and then what is the role of those communities, and then third, what type of jobs are going to be existing in the future.
Yeah, it's totally generous, that point of view from you, Jonathan. And also I think that we don't imagine so far the expectations and the level of compliance that the metaverse can offer for people. And when we have the opportunity to know more about this kind of paragraphs and point of views from a person with your experience, it's incredible. And yeah, I think that is the moment to start thinking about the future of the society, looking at metaverse like a totally window to express ourselves and to have more opportunities to be human beings in other contexts. So Jonathan, to pass to the second part of the interview, we want to know more about Super Social, your center project at this point. How did you start the company, and what is your main business and your main focus now?
Well, Super Social, we are a metaverse company that develops, publishes, and operates cutting-edge games, experiences, and brand worlds on emerging platforms like Roblox. And we are very excited about the work we do at Super Social and the type of project we're building. And what I'm also excited is that we are really merging the worlds of people who come from outside platforms like Roblox and people who grew up on the platform like Roblox. And so we're building this really unique organization where our talent come from different generations. We have Gen X people, millennials, and Gen Z team members, and we're bringing them together to really create this next iteration of the future of interactive experiences on the internet. We started the company with that insight that I've shared with you that I had back in the early stage of 2020 because of COVID, and my understanding in the 10 years prior of what is the role of virtual worlds in the lives of kids with Roblox and Minecraft. And that connection really is what propelled me to want to start the company with an initial focus on the Roblox platform, because I believed that Roblox is already providing a lot of that infrastructure that is so important and so relevant as we even fantasize about the emergence of something like the metaverse. And so that's kind of how we started. That's what we do. And we build both our own original IP that we fully own and also build an incredible business where we help businesses and brands and enterprises all over the world to really establish their metaverse presence on platforms like Roblox.
That's incredible. And Jonathan, looking forward all the work and incredible support that the Super Social has obtained in the last months. Which video games are you published on the metaverse so far? And do you have which one of them that has been caused a greatest impact for people?
I think what we've recently launched, we launched a virtual world with a beauty brand, one of the most prestige beauty brands around the world. It's called NARS Cosmetics. And we've launched a beautiful brand experience based on the NARS Cosmetics brand and collection. And it's a beauty brand. And so what we've done is really using the brand and taking advantage of their iconic brand and iconic product that are admirable and used by millions of people around the world. And we married that vision of their brand with the technology that Roblox provides in really creating a truly groundbreaking experience, both visually, but also from what it provides people and users from the sense of creative expression. And so that's a product and an experience that we've launched that I'm very proud of. And we are seeing the type of impact it makes.
Yeah, I'm looking also to diversify the sources of interaction into the metaverse, not only in terms of video games, but also including in the portfolio of the company some options like beauty brands and many other things that surely will be a centered strategy for the metaverse at the future. That's very great. Jonathan, 6 years ago, you said in a conference in India when people are asking about, were asking about Kano, that you were creating hardware with purpose. And that's great, having in mind the power of technology could have in our days. Now, with all this movement around the metaverse and your job in Super Social, how are you applying the principle to benefit people through Super Social and also trying to move to them some this kind of purpose?
The beside of what we do as Super Social, we have a mission for the company, and the mission from day one has been to create and empower digital communities to play, socialize, connect, and meaningfully express themselves in this next era of the internet. The way we do that is by building these virtual worlds that enable them to manifest their personalities, their creative aspirations within the worlds that we're creating. And I think that is very profound in every experience we're creating. But then it's also about who is creating the experiences. So part of our mission is also to make sure that we can bring people into our organization who can themselves fulfill their ambition as creators. And so it's kind of a two-sided mission where part of the communities we create are communities that are getting access to the worlds we create. And then the other communities are the communities we're building inside our organization to build those incredible experiences. And I believe you need both of these to really make a profound impact.
Yeah, many founders said, Jonathan, that it's a very common and very difficult also to develop double-sided marketplaces. And it's totally related to that you said before, because it's not only the perspective of Super Social trying to bring in and offering something good to the society, but also it's the perception about all these people that is putting their faith and also very good expectations in Super Social, like a very powerful tool to build society and also to translate and to move to the metaverse in a very good way. Jonathan, in that way, and these are two final questions before to check our YouTube chat to also know more about the perception of our students. We know that you are in the second season of your podcast, Into the Metaverse, that is published in Spotify and many other platforms. Tell us what has been the purpose of this project and also what has been the most rewarding part of doing it.
Into the Metaverse as a podcast and a newsletter as well, it's really a passion project. I'm very passionate about the metaverse. And so I started the podcast with a mission of really becoming the leading destination to learn about the metaverse in a way that you can access reliable, insightful, and entertaining content on the podcast and the newsletter. And the way we do that is by really doing deep interviews with the brilliant minds who build, create for, and invest in the metaverse. And we really go deep. We interview them about their work, about their perception, about what they think the metaverse is. We also have a show on a weekly basis that covers 3 news items of what is happening in the metaverse this week. And so we are constantly building kind of the content and more amazing interviews. We had some really legendary people coming in. Tim O'Reilly from O'Reilly Media, who coined the term Web 2.0, was a guest on my podcast. Philip Rosedale, who was the founder and creator of Second Life, which was kind of an early version of a metaverse 20 years ago and is still very successful. So he was on the podcast. I had the chief business officer of Roblox on the podcast. I had Neil Stevenson, the author of Snow Crash, who coined the term the metaverse on the podcast. And so I'm very excited. I'm very passionate. It's a passion project. I think it also supports the overall mission of what we would like to see in Super Social happening, where many more incredible people are coming into helping to realize the vision for the metaverse and the space, and hopefully informing a wide population on what is the metaverse, what are the possibilities for it, and why should they care about it.
Yeah, of course, Jonathan. And from here, all the success and all our best wishes for your project and your podcast.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, it's incredible to see that in a short period of time, also you have been able to build a very good community of people around the metaverse, but also not only to develop new business initiatives, but also to offer learning processes to the people that is absolutely interesting to know more about the metaverse and to have a very good opportunity to understand more from your perspective. So that's great, and it's a very good purpose as well in this kind of times. The final question, Jonathan, before to check the chat, we have a lot of students here at UPB from electrical, electronical, and also computer engineering that probably are following this interview, but also I'm sure that many of them are interested in to develop a professional career into the metaverse. So can you share with them any advice to be successful in this industry? For example, which competencies do you think that they need to develop to build projects into the metaverse in the short time?
I think the most important pillars are, in my mind, curiosity. You really want to throw yourself into the deep waters and be immersed in the technologies, and that could be in the form of prototyping things, reading, asking questions, listening to podcasts, really anything that can satisfy your curiosity about the space. I think the second thing is creativity. And creativity is not just creating a piece of art, or writing something or coding something. Creativity is, in my mind, really doing something, building something. And today, the tools of creation are more available than ever before. In many cases, they are free. Roblox is a free platform. You can learn to code for free and start building on the Roblox engine tomorrow, right? So create, experiment. So the first one is curiosity. The second one is creativity. And I think the third one is consistency. You really want to pursue something and really give it a try, but giving something a try takes time and it takes persistent effort. And so you want to make sure that you're consistent as well. And as you can see, I didn't talk about any certain discipline. I didn't say become an engineer, become an artist, become a manager. They're all the roads are open into the future. I believe those soft skills are important. Curiosity, creativity, and consistency, and really making sure that you are curious enough to learn, you're passionate about it, that you are trying things out because that's the best way to learn. They say you can't learn to swim by doing like this on the sand. You have to go into the water to swim, right? And then the third one is consistency. Just making sure you are trying again and again and again, and not stopping the first time it becomes hard. So that's my advice.
Yeah, and thank you so much, Jonathan. I think that it's a great advice, having in mind that it's not only related to these engineer backgrounds, but also I think that the final message is like any human being with curiosity, creativity, and consistency could be part of the metaverse. And that's the huge opportunity that we can have today. Bueno, para todas las personas que están siguiendo la charla, vamos a pasar a leer algunas preguntas que están en el chat de YouTube. Si quieren hacer alguna pregunta, tanto en inglés como en español, la pueden colocar en el chat y con mucho gusto la vamos a hacer llegar a Jonathan. Jonathan, we have a question here in our YouTube chat from a professor of the UPB, and he said, how do you see universities in the metaverse? Would it be a reality in the short time?
Do I think that education and learning can be profoundly elevated with the possibilities of the metaverse? 100% yes, I do. I also think it's because education as an experience hasn't really evolved for the past 500 years. It has remained very much the same, sitting in a classroom, which is okay. I don't suggest necessarily that it should be disappearing. But I do believe that the metaverse provides opportunities for diversifying the way people learn and people are educated in a way that complement our real life activities. For example, I am truly excited about the possibility where, as an avatar in a virtual world, I can immerse myself in historic events that has happened in the past. I can immerse myself in conversation with personalities and people who have made a truly significant impact on the world, right? Historical figures. I can learn about math and engineering in a completely new way. Instead of learning about it just by sitting in front of a 2D screen, I can have my avatar running around a virtual world and pursuing all sorts of exercises and activities that can allow me in a frictionless way and in a scalable way to build airplanes, to try and get them to fly. And I can do all of that virtually, either through game worlds like on Roblox or digital twins built on the back of technologies like NVIDIA. So I truly think the possibilities are endless and are immense. And I'm not talking about a certain form factor. It doesn't have to be a VR or a mobile phone. I don't care about that. I truly just talk about the experience itself. And I think there are a lot of opportunities for educators to reimagine how can they deliver their content to students in completely new ways that take advantage of technology to create more effective ways of learning that are more fun, more collaborative, more social, more immersive. And so, do I think this is going to happen tomorrow? No, I don't. I think it will take time for education to really adopt and create unique things. But I think we're starting to see things. I am looking at exploring a few things within Super Social when it comes to learning and education. And I think it will take time, but I do believe we're going to start seeing experiments in the next 2 to 3 years. But it definitely will take time until, let's say, the wider education system is adopting and experimenting and sort of using it in a way that can become de facto one of the pillars of how people learn and how we educate people.
Yeah, thanks for that, Jonathan. We have a couple more questions in the YouTube chat. The first one is made by Adriana Rosso and said, what about this government? We are now in Colombia in a transition in terms of the presidential regime. And did the government needs to be interested in the orange and creativity economies? Needs the government to support these kind of movements in order to gain a very good position in the metaverse?
My answer is 100%. I think the government, as always, has a role, because what is the metaverse? The metaverse is not just like a certain tiny platform on the internet that is emerging. The metaverse, as I outlined earlier, in my mind, is a paradigm shift on the way we play, the way we socialize, the way we entertain ourselves, the way we learn and work in the future. And if you think about those three pillars that I've mentioned, right, the notion of diversifying our workforce, the notion of enabling a new, different kind of human expression. If you think about the third piece, which is the community, I believe these are three things that the government should really care about, because if the government will not care about, then they will miss on an opportunity to push society and push the country and its population to the next level of human endeavor. And I think there is an opportunity for governments around the world to kind of really take a clear stand in investing in what are those opportunities and modalities that can propel a country like Colombia, your economy, your workforce, your communities. How can we use the metaverse to propel those pillars of our society? I think that's the role of a government, to encourage industry, innovation, creativity, and bringing people together, professionals, educators, academics, industry, financing institutions, in really helping to propel and put the country at the forefront of the emergence of the metaverse.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I'm happy to help.
Thank you. We will be open totally to have experience like you, experience profiles to support this movement. And the final question, Jonathan, is which are your perspectives about the metaverse in Latin America? Do you think that we have priorities or probably advantages or disadvantages to be part and to achieve a total immersive movement in all these kind of new options of technology like Metaverse?
I think there's two really, really profound things about Latin America. Number one, it is in broad scale, it's a growing population, a lot of young people, and that's incredible because young people push the world forward. The future is built tomorrow by the young people of today. So that's exciting. There's a lot of young people in Latin America as a whole. The second thing, that it's a huge region of emerging economies. So you have the opportunity to be bold and push forward and leapfrog what other regions around the world are doing, not in a competitive way, quite the opposite, in a collaborative way, but nothing stops you aside of sheer will and desire to build a better future. And for example, on Roblox has almost 60 million daily active users on the platform. Two of the 10 largest countries where users come from on the Roblox platform are Brazil and Mexico. Still waiting to see where Colombia gets into the top 10, but Brazil and Mexico, this is Latin America. So we are seeing countries where millions of young people are already immersing themselves in a platform like Roblox. And this is just Roblox. Think about Grand Theft Auto and think about Fortnite and other platforms as well. And so we obviously see this emergence of interest. And so this is happening. And I think I would imagine that there's an incredible opportunity for Latin American economies and populations to really not only embrace what the metaverse can become, but also help shape it.
Yeah, that's incredible, Jonathan. And yeah, it's a reality. And every day that it's coming, there are more opportunities to be part of the metaverse. And we receive incredible message from you to reflect here at the UPB and also with all people in Colombia: curiosity, creativity, consistency, and also the opportunities all about diversify the workforce, new jobs and roles, and the personal and human being fulfillment that is totally necessary for these times. Jonathan, thank you so much from all the management and also all the professor staff of the UPB for having with us in this incredible conversation. There will be 40 minutes of a very good understanding about the new tendencies about the metaverse. And obviously, I think that all your prior experience will be an incredible tool for our students and for the next generations of professionals into the metaverse. So thank you so much, and all the success in Super Social and also in Into the Metaverse, your podcast, and for your professional career.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored, and it was a pleasure.
Thank you so much. De esta manera terminamos nuestra primera actividad de la Semana Internacional, dándole las gracias a todas las personas que nos acompañaron, a quienes colocaron sus preguntas en el chat de YouTube, en esta importante actividad en la cual tenemos la perspectiva de conocer más, no solamente del metaverso, sino también conocerlo de una voz calificada, como Jonathan, el CEO de una de las principales compañías del metaverso a nivel mundial, no solamente en los Estados Unidos, quien se conectó con nosotros desde Columbus, Ohio, en los Estados Unidos. Así que esperamos que haya sido un espacio totalmente gratificante para ustedes. Antes de finalizar, invitarlos a todos a conectarse en este mismo canal de YouTube. Hoy a las 3 de la tarde tendremos nuestra segunda actividad de la Semana Internacional, la charla Estudiar y Trabajar en Alemania, País de Oportunidades, a cargo de Philipp Spelbrink, quien es el coordinador cultural del Instituto Sprach en la ciudad de Bogotá. Muchas gracias a todos por acompañarnos y esperamos que sigan disfrutando de todas las actividades que tenemos preparadas para ustedes en esta Semana Internacional. Hasta la tarde.